One of the things that characterizes being an Orthodox Christian is being ready, whether we realize it or not, having to be ready to give an account of who we are, what we're doing. I think, based on what we see now in many of our churches, it seems that Orthodoxy will slowly cease to have a strong ethnic connotation, which is not to say that the ethnicities or the nationalities that delivered Orthodoxy to that land will go away. It's just that more people will come from outside of traditionally Orthodox cultures to join the church. And we're seeing this already in the parish where I serve. We have this fall, we inducted 50 catechumens, and there are more now. And we say, well, are we seeing a spike? Are we seeing a plateau? Or are we seeing just the beginning of a great wave of growth? Well, we don't know. And that may determine what it looks like in 50 years. But I would think that if we stay on this apparent trajectory that we have, the church will start to seem more universal in the sense of the cultural or the national characteristics that have heretofore defined the church, especially in America. Oh, let's go to the Greek church. Let's go to the Russian church. Let's go to the Arab church. We may see less of that, I believe, in time. We are currently an extreme minority in the United States. If I'm thinking clearly, I believe we're maybe 1% of the entire population of the United States. So as I said earlier, one of the things that characterizes being an Orthodox Christian is being ready, whether we realize it or not, having to be ready to give an account of who we are, what we're doing. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So, for example, before I ever became a priest and everything, I worked in a corporate job, in a corporate environment. And I remember during certain fasting seasons, maybe there might be an office lunch or an office party. And, inevitably somebody would say, oh, how come you're not eating the steak? Or how come you're not eating this or that thing? And I say, well, since you asked, I'm fasting right now. Oh, why? Are you on a diet? Well, no, actually, this is part of who I am as a Christian. Oh, what kind of church do you go to? And then, the conversation continues. And in another way that this encounter can happen is many, especially in the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese, many of the parishes hold what they call a Greek festival, where the people have a few days of food, traditional Greek food, and dancing, and all these different things, and almost always have a tour schedule for people to come into the temple and to maybe have a guided tour about, well, what is this space? What is this church? What are these things? And I remember one time I was doing this for the community where I was. I was giving a tour, and I gave my talk, and the people got up to walk around to look, and they're looking at the icons and everything in the church. And one young woman was just sitting in one of the chairs, and she didn't get up, and she was just looking at the iconostasion. And she sat there for a while, and I went to her and I said, you look like you have a question. Is there something you want to say? And she says, yes, I'm trying to figure out which one of these is Zeus. So you see, I said, we're not those kind of Greeks, So we have these kinds of encounters, but I think one of the things, Father Paisia, that we could say also is that many Orthodox Christians are faced with conflict. What I mean by this is because of our minority status, we have many other ideas that are brought to our attention, whether different interpretations of Christianity or different lifestyles altogether, and this is one of the main challenges of I believe being Orthodox in a largely non-Orthodox environment. But we also, paradoxically, in America, we have many freedoms. So we know that we can exercise these things with much freedom. And I think this is not always the case in other places where Orthodoxy is a minority.